Single mothers, often forgotten, often never thought of, but ever present in recent years. More and more common as time goes on, and increasing by the year. As a kid, I grew up with young parents, which was its own challenge, yet I never really had insight into the struggle of the single mother. Mothers who have put everything they have towards their children. That wasn't until later in life. I began to educate myself and encounter people who were single mothers. Yet still the concept of the single mother is one that has eluded many, claiming they understand it, but never really taking the time to learn or listen. As years have gone by, such a phenomenon has become more and more common. But what has changed? Why has the number of single mothers gone up? For such a highly stigmatized group in the past, what has changed to make their lives easier? That's what I set to find out. What has changed? What was it like? And what is it like now? From single parents in the 90s to young and academically inclined single mothers of today, what have they struggled with, and has it gotten any easier? To start, I began looking to the past, to a place I know that the struggle was, if not the hardest, near hardest, the 1990s. A time where a single mother could feel like being a death sentence. During the 1990s, according to the Center of Budget and Policy Priorities, children living with single parents were at about 19%. And this wouldn't drop until 2000s, where it decreased by only 1.5% to 18.4%. Single mothers faced a good bit of employment discrimination, with employed single mothers making up less than 14% of single mothers entirely. This went up in 1995 to 17.1%, but went back down in 2003 to 14.4%. During the 1980s to 1990s, many governments around the world gave scarce help to single mothers, and it's considered by experts to be one of the most aggressively hostile times for single mothers in our history. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, 42% of single mothers lived in poverty, and even those who left welfare still struggled to pay rent, buy food, and basic utilities like water and electricity. But research can only say so much, and personal experiences speaks louder than words. What did it feel like living in the 1990s as a single mother?
My three boys were 10, 6, and 4 when I divorced. I was very blessed to have family to help me in taking care of them and raising them. But I went to work right after I separated. I held a job. I coached soccer. And my boys played on different teams. So we kept a busy day. Then eventually I went to legal secretary school and continued them going to a sitter and me paying for a sitter. I didn't work in those 18 months, but we lived by ourselves. We lived a single parent with the three boys in a trailer. They were active in sports. Then they got active in hunting, and that was a little busy life for us too. Once I finished trade school, legal secretary school, I started working full-time again. Financially, it was never easy, but I never lived on the government. I paid for a sitter. I paid for whatever the children need with being blessed by other people. I did receive food stamps in the short period of time that I was in legal secretary school, but as soon as I received a full-time job, I was making 64 cents too much to receive food stamps. So then there was no more government aid for sure. But I never lived off the government, and I'm proud to say that I was able to raise my boys by our income. I never made good money. They lacked in some things, and I'm sure they hurt by that, but We still had a roof over our head, we had meals to eat. Then as they got older and were ready to drive, they knew mom could not afford to pay insurance and or buy a vehicle, so they had to work if they wanted their driver's license, because they needed to pay for their own insurance. And I am very proud to say that all three of them did that and have always worked moving forward. At times it would get tiring because I felt I wasn't being a good mother, because I couldn't supply more for them, but we survived it. My youngest son did choose to go live with his father for a couple of years, and that was a hard, trying stage at that point, because I felt that he needed to be with me. But it worked out for him, and he got to spend time with his dad that way. The other two stayed home, but like I said before, they always held a job, and that helped, you know. I was tough. I was very tough on my boys. My mother would always tell me I was too hard on them. And I would say, Ma, it's me and the good Lord. I can't be lenient. And they all turned out good. I had some trials through that time, but they all did turn out good.
According to the Los Angeles Times, ironically, unlike Connie, they say that many single mothers were pressured to fill their time with work to support themselves, finding that they had less time for family-oriented activities and less time to engage with the home. Many citing a pressure to keep busy or they would fail, and usually losing that time with the family, making them feel guilty about spending time doing other activities. It seemed that Connie did much the same, albeit taking time for her sons to enjoy themselves with their hobbies. She still, like many other single mothers, had to work, but when such a time was full of hefty bills, expensive hobbies, and things of that matter, what helped someone like Connie afford the cost of 3 boys?
Child support. Their father paid me child support weekly, and that's what we lived off of.
For most society at the time, being a single mother came with a multitude of societal stigma. And according to the NPR, many mothers face the stigma of being irresponsible, lazy, failures, and even being scandalous. Being a single mother forced many kids into a statistic of what many considered a broken home. And for even someone like Connie, this reality was a hard pill to swallow.
But probably that was the biggest thing, knowing that my children were in the statistics of a divorced home. I always had a hard time with that. Didn't matter that I was divorced. It always bothered me that they were in the statistics of being in a single parent home. And I didn't think that was fair to them, but we couldn't change that.
Yet someone like Connie, who fought their way against the odds, against the stigma, and doing their best to provide for their kids, shows that these stigmas were simply an uneducated product of the time. However, it wouldn't be long before things changed and got easier. And people like Connie, who had to struggle during the time that many considered single parenting to be its hardest, found modern single parenting to be much more fortunate than what they had experienced themselves.
Nowadays, our single parents, financially, it's probably gotten easier because they all live off the government and don't want to work. I have very strong feelings about that. Don't tell me I can't afford to work and pay a babysitter. No, boo, you can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. But I think there's more help out there for single parents if they wanted it. You know, there is nursery care paid by government. If you want to finish, get a further education to get a job. So I think it's harder on the fact that the younger generation doesn't want to go out and make it for themselves.
The 90s painted a bleak picture of the life of a single mother. With many being unable to take on the challenges presented in such a trying time, odds against them, help was minimal. In the 90s, mothers faced low employment rates, high poverty rates, pressure in the workforce if employed, and pressure to find work if not. Mothers faced a social stigma like no other. The 90s only offered minimal help to mothers with programs like food stamps, temporary assistance for needy families, also known as the TANF, and eventually the Welfare Act of 1996, which would later go on to be cited as a major contributor from mothers moving from unemployed to employed. However, this was not enough. And mothers actually were found to not face poverty due to loss of income, but actually due to a rough transition from married life to single life at the time. Divorce was a big stigma in the 1990s, which many have cited as a major player in lack of benefits for single parents. Benefits like TANF would eventually decline, and like in the case of Connie, once mothers gained good economic footing to survive, needed assistance like food stamps was denied. But is today really any different? Research says that in 2020 onward, single motherhood has had some major and minor changes. According to Pew Research, in 2018 to 2020 onward, about 1/3 of children live in a single-parent household, with about 30% of single mothers living in poverty. This is compared to a simple 17% in the case of single fathers. PubMed states that in 1990 to 2019, compared to now, welfare mainly targeted working single parents and unemployed single parents, contributing to what is now the highest unemployment rate in North America. In 2020, about 1 in 4 single parents are unemployed. And at the same time, during the pandemic, the rate of employed single mothers declined, according to the NIC. The Rapid Survey Project also found that single parents in the modern day reported higher levels of emotional distress in themselves and their children compared to other families such as co-parenting or married parents. Interestingly enough, while doing research, I found that according to the Annie E. Case Foundation, that Louisiana is among 3 states in the United States in 2023 that have a single-parent household percentage above 41 to 46%. And in 2022, more than 30% of single-parent families lived below the poverty line, compared to 6% of married couple families. In addition, AmericanProgress.org has found that in 2023, 51% of single mothers never married, and 76% have less than a bachelor's degree. They also found that in 2023, 18% of single employed mothers worked part-time, which is, according to American Progress, double the rate of single fathers. But what does living in modern times as a single parent feel like? Have these increases in support helped or hurt our single mothers? Do these statistics truly show at the surface level? Is it true that things have really improved? The next person I encountered happened to have a bit of a more upbeat look on things, coming from a good support system, explaining that she loves it and has all the support she could use.
I love it. Everything about it. It's been great. I have an easy kid, though. She's really easy, but I love it. My husband is my biggest help, but I love to say our village is really good. His parents, my grandparents, everybody always wants her, always wants to help in any possible way they can. Everybody always asks for her to go over, so everybody helps us a lot. Probably not wanting to ask for help, and just because young parents, I find, always right out the jump get, oh, they don't watch their kid, oh, they're so young to have kids, oh, they don't need to have kids this young. They're always pawning their kid off, and I never wanted people to think I was that mom, or like we were those parents that tried to pawn our kid off. So like even sometimes when I know like I need help or we need help, I don't want to ask for it, just because I don't want to get that stigmatism placed on us.
Ryan brings up a very interesting point, though, however, in why many young parents may refuse reaching out, citing a source of pride or want to not fall under a certain stigma that many modern single parents or young mothers fall under as well.
Wanting to ask for help, and just because young parents, I find, always right out the jump get, oh, they don't watch their kid, oh, they're so young to have kids, oh, they don't need to have kids this young, they're always pawning their kid off, and I never wanted people to think I was that mom, or like we were those parents that tried to pawn our kid off. So like even sometimes when I know like I need help or we need help, I don't want to ask for it, just because I don't want to get that stigmatism placed on us. We're in the toddler stage now, and she's a ball of craziness. But parenting her hasn't been hard. There's just been new things that like I have to learn and adapt and things like that. But like overall, I feel probably when we get to her teenage years, it'll be crazy. But she, for the most part, she makes it easy for us. And then other times it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like sometimes I'll wake up and be like, how am I a mom? Like how did I get here? I don't know how I got here. But it's kind of been the same throughout. It's just adapting and learning as time goes.
Ryan also has an interesting take on the struggles of motherhood in the sense that she does not find it as stressful as one may believe, citing that it's been interesting and curious even at how things have progressed and how they've had to learn and grow with the child as she grows as well.
We're in the toddler stage now, and she's a ball of craziness. But parenting her hasn't been hard. There's just been new things that like I have to learn and adapt and things like that. But like overall, I feel probably when we get to her teenage years, it'll be crazy. But she, for the most part, she makes it easy for us. And then other times it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like sometimes I'll wake up and be like, how am I a mom? Like how did I get here? I don't know how I got here. But it's kind of been the same throughout. It's just adapting and learning as time goes.
Yet Ryan occupies a special subgroup of single parents / young parents, as Ryan is married and Ryan has a more enjoyable experience. But let's hear from somebody who isn't married, is single, and maybe doesn't feel the exact same way that she does.
I wouldn't say it's like a typical experience. It started off really rough, even like during pregnancy. I just I got pregnant by the wrong person. So it just started off really rough, and even with his side of the family, they're just very judgmental and homicidal. That's the word. And it took a lot of, I wouldn't even say strength or courage, just a lot of audacity for me to be able to cut them off completely the way that she needs to for her development. And I'd say now though my experience is pretty smooth sailing. I have a lot of help compared to what I hear other people who experience single motherhood, I guess. She has like 3 sets of grandparents, if that says anything. So I get a lot of help. I wouldn't say financial help, but if she needs something and I can't get it, someone else. It mainly revolves around her. Like I get food stamps and WIC for her. She eats all of that in like the first 2 weeks though. You wouldn't think so, but they cut back on it on monthly food stamps. It drops at least $5. And it's not that I'm making any more to affect it. If anything, my hours go down weekly and then they pick back up randomly. We're also on Medicaid, Medicare, whatever it is. So we don't have to worry about health stuff, which is very helpful because I hear people pay just terrible amounts for healthcare. And I'm glad that's not one of my worries. But I also grew up in foster care, so I'll be covered by the state until I'm 25, unless I get married.
Journey, like Connie, found herself in a situation where she's using the government's programs to help her as a young adult parent, a single parent especially. However, like Connie, she found that the monetary support only lasts so long, even in the modern day, saying that in her case, every paycheck it seems that the food stamps become less and less. In Connie's case, she couldn't receive it at all at a certain point because she made too much money. In Journey's case, the system seems to just simply be failing her. However, such an experience in economic troubles does not at all hinder her love of her experience as a mother. In fact, her grievances with being a single parent don't really have anything to do with her child at all, being more personal than other people's.
I'd say personally, it's grieving my sense of self that I thought I knew, even though I didn't really know her. It's more of an independence that I've always strived for my entire life. I now don't have that in various different aspects of my life. It's become more of I feel like more of a burden on everyone, because it's not just me that everyone thinks they have to care about and cater to. It's like my kid, and then us as a whole is a whole different essence than just me and her. So it's just been like a mental struggle for me, with just adapting to that and accepting help. I've never really been one to ask for help and accept it. Wow. And now I kind of have to put that pridefulness away in moments where I literally can't afford getting it out, but I make it through. I think it depends on the situation. I know I have a great village. I have done really well at surrounding her with people who have nothing but good interests and love for her. So I feel like in other situations for other people, it can be a bit harder if you don't have a lot of intermediate family nearby or people that you trust. I used to have really bad trust issues, but all the people that like I said, I couldn't really trust that well. I just don't even involve us with them. If I can't be around me, then my kids should.
It seems for someone like Journey, someone like Ryan, and someone like Connie, the journey of motherhood is one of ups and downs, and a struggle against a system that doesn't really seem to support its single mothers. Even in the modern day, we have examples of it failing, like mothers failing to get coverage on healthcare, failing to apply for food stamps, and other such benefits that would greatly help mothers in their position. Overall, if there's one thing this documentary taught me, it's that there's multiple ways to single motherhood, but there's definitely one thing for sure. The system needs to change. Overall, it seems that the system needs changing. It seems that the mothers need more support, and our government, our healthcare, our welfare, our education even, needs to start compensating for that, some way, shape, or form. This isn't an advocacy for change or for a move. This is simply to bring awareness to a situation that goes blind to millions of Americans every day, the struggle of being a single mother. Thank you for watching.